Heyo. Heyo. To all the non-viewers out there, so far, so good. Welcome. I mean, if you're watching this on the replay, because we just started. When you start at 0. A little rusty. Haven't done this in a few weeks. But this is going to be a fun show. You know, assuming we get the viewers. But 25 seconds in or so, it'll happen. It'll happen. I just promoted it on the social medias. So now all we got to do is get a game going. Have some fun. Hopefully we get some viewers, though. Otherwise, all the things I'm going to talk about, well, I can talk about them still, I guess. I just won't have anybody to talk at. But we got a first viewer, so things are looking good. Things are looking good. Less than a minute. 100% of a viewer. Welcome, first viewer. Oops. Let's see what we got here. Where's my chat box I had set up here? Here we go. Welcome. We're going to have a good time here. Got lots to talk about. Alright, Fortnite's immediately asking for my money here. Last time I played this was the last time I streamed. And this game is constantly changing. Food fight, LTM. What's that? LTM. Elite tomato lettuce. Lettuce, tomato, meat. Probably want to watch me play, I guess. Let me go ahead and pop that there. Alright, looking good, looking good. Let's see. Here we go. Alright, let's get this thing going. Oh. Epic wants to say, hey, don't you want... Oh, it's a gift from Epic Games. What is it? It's an item. Home-based banner. Oh, I got a dog. Got a knight. Got a llama. Helmet. Wow, look at that. Free. Hey, Ken. Fortnite. That's right. I am amazing at Fortnite. And by amazing, I mean I'm not that good. But I think it'll be fun anyway. All right, got ourselves a second viewer. Things are looking good. Things are really gonna turn out okay. You know. Sometimes you wonder if you're making the wrong decisions in your life, but then you get that first and second viewer, and you just realize everything's gonna be okay. So we got some things to talk about. First thing I want to talk about, I talked a little bit about it in the podcast, but Detective Pikachu is a thing. Started out as a 3DS game, but now it is a thing. It's going to be in pop culture from now until Armageddon. I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think of Detective Pikachu? You guys see the trailer? I'm sure you saw the trailer because this is in the zeitgeist right now. It is the kind of thing that you go to work, you go to school, and people ask you, hey, you see the Detective Pikachu trailer? If you follow this channel, you're probably the kind of person that saw the Detective Pikachu trailer. And I'd like to know what you guys think. I thought it was pretty good. Honestly, when they said that they were going to do a Detective Pikachu movie, I thought, really? Detective Pikachu? Like, the thing was, okay, so Pokemon Go exploded into popularity, or exploded Pokemon kind of back into mainstream popularity. It was always still popular, but it hadn't been like the 90s, the mid-90s, where you couldn't go anywhere without seeing Pokemon paraphernalia everywhere. Ken says, first Pokemon thing that interested me. See, there you go. That's what I'm saying. It's like... it's something that's going to stick with people. Stick to your ribs, as some people might say during Thanksgiving. Crap. This is not going to go well for me in Fortnite. But yeah, people were surprised, myself included, because just video game movies in general, more likely than not, it's gonna be bad, right? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hey, he doesn't even have the common courtesy to... Oh, I still killed him. What a bozo. Alright. Alright. I'm sorry. Sorry for getting a little distracted there. But I honestly thought I was going to be dead there. But there's still time. Give me time. I will die. I promise. Okay. So yeah, you got Ryan Reynolds. You got Deadpool playing the voice of Pikachu. And when they first announced it, I was not sure that was a good idea to make. Oh, whoa! I'm a ghost. What is this? Oh, okay. Clearly, I have no idea. I don't play Fortnite very much. You guys could be watching me if you guys are. Okay, so can I fly right here? I'm just like on slow gravity. Can I go through the walls? No. Oh, I can. Oh, this is kind of cool. Phase. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I'm losing focus, which is something I've never done on one of these streams before. But yeah, here I can exit this. This is kind of cool. I like that. Yeah, it was based off of the 3DS game Detective Pikachu, and in that game, Pikachu sounds like an old Japanese man. Or there's an English version. I don't know what he sounds like in the English version, but he probably doesn't sound like Ryan Reynolds. And there was a big campaign to have Danny DeVito play Pikachu, because I think people were inspired by the Japanese voice, and they thought, you know what, that sounds like kind of like a Japanese Danny DeVito. We got to have Frank from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia doing the voice of Pikachu. And I thought that was a great idea, but he had no idea who Pikachu was or what Pokemon were. At least that's what he says. I don't know if that's just an old man trying to be cool by saying, I don't know what that is. But I digress. I thought that the trailer looked good. I found out the company that did the CG work for it, the work for the Pokemon in it, actually did the CG work for the Jungle Book remake, the live-action remake Disney did. And if you haven't seen it, the CG in that movie is really good. Very impressive. Oh, I can't use it. What is this button? What is this, a bomb? I want to throw it. I do want to throw it. But I also don't want to get killed by not having my gun handy. So yeah, Pokemon Go exploded into popularity, and immediately Nintendo's like, okay, we got to capitalize on this. There was movie studio offers, or movie studios were bidding, I believe, on the rights to make a movie, like ASAP, and Nintendo has been very skittish about making movies since the Super Mario Brothers movie came out in '93, because it was bad. It was really bad, and it looked bad on the brand. And all of a sudden, they're saying, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to get back into the movie-making business, and Pokemon Detective Pikachu is the first thing they decided to greenlight. And it turns out, I mean, we haven't seen the movie yet, but it turns out that it looks like they made a good call, just because they partnered with the right people. Warner Brothers is distributing it in most of the world outside of Japan and China. And they got big names attached to it. You got Ryan Reynolds, you got the nerdy guy from Jurassic World 2, and you got Ken Watanabe. You know Ken Watanabe from Inception and his other films. But yeah, I don't know if this is a very entertaining way for me to talk about this. You guys have any opinions on Detective Pikachu? I think, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be good. It did hit up the trailer did show some stereotypical, not stereotypical, but some common tropes, like when Jurassic World guy says, like, you can talk? And Pikachu says, you can hear me? That's something that's been done in lots of movies before, usually with animals or toys or something. But outside of that, outside of like, okay, we've seen this sort of thing before, it had charm, and it was funny. Some people said that Pikachu looked terrifying. I actually thought the look of Pikachu looked really cool. Most of the Pokemon in general. Charizard, it looks intense, but still cool. I'm still interested. Still interested. Pokemon there's been several Pokemon movies, but they've all been animes produced in Japan up to this point. So this is going to be the first time a Western studio is getting to tell a Pokemon story, as far as I'm aware, and I think it shows promise. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is something that you can get behind? Are you interested in this? Ken says it's the first one that interested him. I saw the ones. Hey, cool man, what's up? I saw the Pokemon. I saw the first Pokemon movie in theaters. I was a kid, and I was totally caught up in the Pokemon hype during that time. I got that special Mew card. I was so excited to get that special card that you got when you went to see it in theaters. And then I saw the second and third movies in theaters as well, but it just wasn't the same. And I was starting to get older, so I kind of faded away. And those movies just, honestly, if you watch them with a critical eye, especially an adult eye, you'll realize that they're not very good. But I've got hope. I've got hope for this. I've got optimism. I think it looks like a decent movie. Speaking of Pokemon, there's 2 new Pokemon games that just came out 2 days ago, Friday. Pokemon, or Let's Go Pokemon Pikachu and Let's Go Pokemon Eevee. A sort of remake of Pokemon Yellow, but geared towards catching and attracting the casual audience that really ate up Pokemon Go on the cell phones. And, you know, from all anecdotal accounts, it seems like it's working. There's a lot of people that have never played a Pokemon game before but are very interested in these new ones. And supposedly it's doing very well just within its first 2 days. So good for them. Good for them. A lot of people are really concerned that Nintendo's not going to make their 20 million Switch sales they forecasted to get this year. But we'll see. Pokemon is now out. That's going to be a big one. There's a bunch of bundles, and then there's Smash Brothers. And geez, like 3 weeks. Wow, 2 or 3 weeks. Wow. You guys excited about Smash Brothers? Smash Brothers Ultimate? I know I am. What if they made a Smash Brothers movie? That would be intense. You'd have to... Oh, man. A Smash Brothers movie could be Nintendo's Avengers. Nintendo's Justice League, right? Because Smash Brothers is kind of that sort of thing in video game form already. It's just a meeting of the minds. And you have that story mode. I forgot what it's called. Something light. Smash Brothers Light Adventure. I don't know. But the story cinematics look pretty cool on that. I don't know. I don't think you could really flesh out a good story with a bunch of characters that, for the most part, don't say more than a word or two at a time. Coolman says, people say that Mr. Mime looks terrifying in the new Pokemon film. Yeah, so I was kind of alluding to that earlier. People were saying Pikachu looked terrifying. I thought Pikachu looked really cool. Charizard looked intense. Mr. Mime, yeah, I guess it's just his expressions. But he's I guess he's supposed to be expressive, but he does have that feel to him. You know what? I realized, though, what is this movie going to be rated? I thought about that when I first saw the trailer, and Mr. Mime in general, because I feel like you could get you could squeeze a PG-13 out of it, but I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know. It's kind of a weird balance, because you have this like kind of gritty look to the world and the Pokemon and the characters, but it's also Pokemon. It's a family brand. But at the same time, PG-13 is kind of the new PG, it seems. You don't see any G-rated movies anymore. The last G-rated movie I remember, last big G-rated movie I remember, was Toy Story 3. And I'm not even sure Toy Story 4 is going to be rated G. Every CG movie, even like Frozen, I believe is PG. Everything's PG now for families. And then for the slightly older crowd, it's PG-13. Star Wars movies have been PG-13 across the board since Disney took over. And granted, George Lucas kicked that off with his last Star Wars movie, Episode 3. But, yeah, all the Marvel movies, PG-13, PG-13. So, will this Pokemon movie go for the PG-13, or will it go for PG? Ken says, about to jump on Fortnite myself. Well, hope to see you there, Ken. Cool Man says, I wonder if Gengar is going to be in the movie. You know what? Good question. When they first announced the Detective Pikachu movie, I was wondering, like, are they just going to kind of limit it to just a few Pokemon? But if you've seen the trailer, you can tell that's absolutely not the case. This is a movie that really embraces the Pokemon and the ethos. So I think anything's possible. I think there's a very good chance that all 151 of the original Pokemon are at least seen in a frame or two of the movie. And that's kind of an exaggerated number. Exaggeratingly low number. What's the word for exaggerating on the low end? Losing my vocabulary today. My vernacular is no good. But yeah, there's a lot of potential, like for like a scary scene with a Gengar or a Ghastly or what about one of those psychic Pokemon? Kadabra, Abra. Man, it's been a long time since I've played a Pokemon game. But those original 151 Pokemon, I played Pokemon Red and Pokemon Silver. Those are the ones I really loved. And then I played a few more after that, but I just never got into them the same way. So, honestly, I'm interested in the world of this movie. I'm interested in the look, characters. It feels like there's actually real effort being put forth to this. Whoa. But we'll see, you know. The guy who's making, or the studio that's making the Super Mario Brothers movie said that creators of the original property are often not given enough input in movies. So you could tell that Nintendo didn't go into this lightly. Like I said, they haven't made a big movie from a Western studio since 1993. And this is Nintendo finally stepping outside of their comfort zone. But also, I believe they've decided that, you know what, the only way this is going to happen is if we have a lot more control over what you're doing. Because with that Mario movie in 93, they had, I think they must have had like zero input on the project after a certain level. Because Nintendo wasn't happy with that movie. Ken says, what's your tag in Fortnite? It's right here. Laser Lemming. Go ahead and add me there. But that's what you mean by tag, right? I hope so, because I'm clearly not up on the Fortnite anything. Every time you watch me play Fortnite, it's a new adventure. It's like watching a goldfish meet its owner for the first time every morning. That's me in Fortnite. So what else is going on? Like I said, Pokemon Switch is selling well. Oh, here's some big news. Sony is not attending E3 2019. It's official. Sony is backed out. And people are like, whoa, why? What happened? What happened? That's a great question. It's a great question. E3 is going to feel a little bit smaller next year. There's going to be a Sony-shaped hole in all of us next year. It's kind of weird, right? Sony's I'll talk about this on the podcast too, I think, but Sony's the console generation leader. They have the most systems sold in this generation of consoles. They practically got a PlayStation 2 on their hands. It's that big of a success. So they have all the games. Anything that's not an exclusive is pretty much coming to the PS4. If it's coming to multiple systems, the PS4 is likely one of them. So it's not like there's a lack of games to show. Microsoft has been dry on exclusives for, I want to say, for the last 2-3 years. They've barely had anything to show. But they always come forward with the multi-platform games. The games that everybody's going to get anyway. Because they got to show up. At least that's how Microsoft looks at it. And, you know, Nintendo stopped doing press conferences, live press conferences on stage, I want to say like 5 years ago or so. And when they first did that, when they first announced it and started, when they first said, yo, we're not going to do a live show, I was very disappointed. And I thought, you know what, that's not cool. That's not the way to go. Part of the excitement of E3 is feeling like you're part of that crowd, that live crowd that's witnessing something for the first time. And then, you know, what they do is they do their Nintendo Direct format where they have a pre-made show, very professional pre-made show that shows trailers and they talk about things and show off new things. But it's not in that live format in front of an audience. There's no camera sweeps, fades, or anything like that. They're not bringing new people onto the stage. They might introduce new people. They might have new people come to talk about a certain game, but they're not live. They're not in front of people. You don't hear the laughs. You don't hear the applauses. You don't hear the whoas. You don't hear the boos. And the boos are the kind of thing that Nintendo's afraid of. Nintendo had a really bad E3. Oh, they've had a few really bad E3s within the last 10 years or so, but in one such occasion, it was when they first revealed the controls, the Wii Motion Plus controls for The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And there was wireless interference that totally bungled the presentation. The whole idea was to show how accurate everything was, but the wireless interference with the controllers and whatever was going on stage made it look like the controls were very inaccurate and bad. And so that kind of scared Nintendo off. It was one of the first things to scare Nintendo away from this sort of format. And I think anytime they do a hardware reveal, like a new system, they got to do that live show. And they kind of did. I mean, they did with the Switch, but they did it in Japan, and Japan is notorious for being very unenthusiastic at live shows, at least in all the live presentations I've seen that take place in Japan. So I think you got to do it in front of a Western audience. That's just my personal Western bias. But you know, Sony's saying, no, we're not even doing that. We're not showing up. I mean, they didn't go outright and say we're not going to do a Nintendo Direct or a Sony Direct, but they said we're not going to be there. We're not going to have a show. We're not going to have any presence on the show floor. And so if I was like a diehard Sony fan, I would find that very disappointing. Like I said, I was disappointed when Nintendo said we're not going to do a live show anymore, but they're always still there. Even when they only had one game to show for themselves. One game to show, which was Breath of the Wild. One year, the Wii U was just doing so badly. It was 0 games were being announced for the thing practically, except for some really bad indie titles and, you know, some decent ones too. But it was just very few and far between because the system was not doing well, sales-wise. Because most people didn't know that the Wii U was a new system. Okay, Ken, let me add you, Ken. All they need to do is figure out how to add a player. I'm going to add you. I can do this. But where was I? Where was I? Okay, so Sony's not going to be there. And they said they put out some press release. Oh, there you are, Ken. Let me just go ahead and add you. How do I add you? Oh, cool. You're already added, apparently. Let me manage you. Oh, look at this. How do I... Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit ready. Hopefully we're in this thing together. But yeah. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of Sony saying, no, we're not going to show up? They put out this press release where they said Sony is constantly evaluating the what I could pull up the actual press release, but it's garbage. Let me pull it up. I'll read it to you. Sony E3 2019 press release. Okay. There you are, Ken. Howdy. Okay, let me see what they said here. Here's what Sony said. As the industry evolves, Sony Interactive Entertainment continues to look for inventive opportunities to engage the community. The PlayStation fans mean the world to us, and we always want to innovate, think differently, and experiment with new ways to delight gamers. As a result, we have decided not to participate in E3 2019. We are exploring new and familiar ways to engage our community in 2019 and can't wait to share our plans with you. And initially, I thought, well, maybe Sony's going to be doing their own show, like a separate show. But right here, they kind of just say, no, like, we have nothing to announce. But we can't wait to announce something. You would have thought they would, if they had something already planned, you would think that they would have announced it before this news came out, because immediately people were trying to say, oh, this is fake, this isn't true, this isn't true, there's no way this is true, oh my god. But it's true. And you don't want that. Like, if you can get ahead of a bad, possibly bad story, you want to do that. Otherwise, it just leads people to speculate and let their own imaginations be the problem. Hey, Ken. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, folks. I don't know if Sony actually has any kind of real plans, or like I said, they're the market leader. They have all the games. They have stuff to show. Granted, Sony's burned through most of their big exclusives. Spider-Man came out. Red Dead Redemption's not an exclusive, but they have exclusive deals with them for DLC. And what else? Oh crap, Ken, I'm about to die. Wait, I have a shotgun too. Damn, sorry, Ken. Let me jump over here. Yeah, so Sony's gone, and we don't know where they are. We have no idea what their plan is, or if they have a plan. But you know what? Immediately, Microsoft and Nintendo put out a statement saying, we'll be there. Microsoft's probably eating that up. You know, like I said, they went for years without any notable exclusives, but they still showed up. And God bless them, they still showed, even though most of the games they showed were multi-platform games, they showed a lot of them. And they do, to their credit, tend to have a handful of pretty cool exclusive indie games. But Microsoft's starting to fork over a lot of money to acquire studios to actually create exclusives, because it was kind of a bad look for them for a while, right? They would say that okay, Cool Man says something here. Maybe they are planning the PS5. Well, you know what? That's what a lot of people were saying. Well, Sony's not showing up because the PS5 is coming in 2020. And then supposedly that's what a lot of developers are being told by Sony, to expect it out in 2020. That's 2 years from now. 2 years from now. And, you know, since when do developers or do the first-party companies not show up to E3 because there's a new system coming out? It's all the more reason to show up. All the more reason to remind the industry who you are and what you're about, and get you excited about it. Microsoft has been showing off. They've been talking about their next systems constantly lately. You know, they teased Scorpio a year before it came out, and then they teased their next Xbox the year Xbox One X came out. So, I mean, just because the PS5 is around the corner 2 years from now, maybe one. I doubt it's coming out at the end of 2019, but in all likelihood, 2020. And if the PS4 was doing poorly sales-wise, yeah, they'd be rushing the PS5 right now. Just like Microsoft is probably fast-tracking the next Xbox. But I don't think a PS5 is a valid reason to not show up to E3. I don't see the logic there. I mean, they still have games, right? You know that The Last of Us 2 is coming out for PS4, and probably at this point, as we're getting later and later into the generation, as the PS4 gets longer in the tooth, it might be like a launch game for the PS5 as well, kind of like Breath of the Wild was with the Switch and Wii U, and Twilight Princess was for the Wii and GameCube. I could totally see them doing that with The Last of Us 2, and I could see them doing that with Hideo Kojima's game, Death Stranding. So, yeah, it's all possible, but I don't know why a PlayStation 5 coming in a few years would be a deal breaker, right? Why would... I don't know. I can ask the same question over and over and over again, but let me see if I can join Ken's game here. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I think it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense why, when you have everything to show, you show nothing. Literally nothing. I mean, they might have their own show, but they canceled that this year too. They were doing a PSX, the PlayStation Experience show, and they canceled that this year. So are they going to do that next year? Who knows? Who knows where this flower grows? But I can't tell you. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you a damn thing about it. Except that it's confounding. Because like I said, Microsoft's probably super excited. They put out a press release real quick saying, yeah, we'll be there. And they're super excited that Sony's not going to be there because that's all the more attention on them. Unless Sony comes out the gate and says, we're going to do our own show like the day before or shortly after or the same day. I don't know. I just don't understand Sony's reasoning behind this, like at all. But I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out if they're making some sort of grand gesture, but I just don't see it. I don't see what the idea is. I don't see where they're coming from here. But I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out. E3 2019. You think they'll show the new systems? Not if they're coming out in 2020. Microsoft might want to get the jump on Sony. If you guys might remember, I know it was like literally 100 years ago when the Xbox 360 first came out, but it came out a year before the PlayStation 3 did. The 360 came out at the end of 2005, and Sony lied and said that the PS5 will be out, or the PS3 will be out in spring of 2006. It didn't happen. Came out at the end of the year, and the rest is history. But I don't know. I don't think that they'll be showing off new systems yet. Microsoft has more reason to want to, but again, they just launched a system with the Xbox One X, you know? And I know it's not a brand new console, but it is a new SKU for them and a big one that they're trying to push hard. Look at me with the purple guns already, but it's a shotgun. What does the orb do? Let's find out. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. I like it. How cool is that? Oh, there's Ken. All right. What else we got to talk about? Okay, so I just did some quick research before this channel went live, and I found out that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was renewed for a 7th season. I have not seen more than a few minutes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I decided it just wasn't for me. You guys watch that show? You guys like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? If so, congrats. It's got a 7th season. Oh, man. Oh, no. He's going to kill me. I'm dead. I'm dead. As a doornail, I am dead. I don't know. I'm not big on the superhero shows that are on network television. ABC, CW, Fox, and formerly CBS. I don't know. I just don't. I don't find them that good. They kind of come off like they're made by a network channel. The best shows on TV, I think, come out of cable channels, and you got your Netflixes and your premium cable channels like HBO. Netflix, HBO, and recently Hulu has started to put out some good stuff too. Cool Man, perfect segue. Cool Man asks, have you seen the Daredevil series? I'm glad you asked that because I actually have a note written right under Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7 being confirmed. Yes, I've seen the Daredevil series, and as of last night, I have seen all of the Daredevil series. I just finished up Season 3 with my wife, and it's still good. I didn't enjoy every Netflix Marvel show. Was not a fan of Iron Fist. I slowly got through the first episode, and I was done. Saw the first season of Luke Cage, and that was like pulling teeth too. So we didn't watch the second season, and both of those shows have now been canceled. Ken says Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was awful. Well, there you go. Yeah, I watched a few minutes, and that was enough for me to decide it wasn't for me. And I don't really like the CW shows, like this isn't Marvel, it's DC, but like I say I don't like it, but I really haven't given them a chance. But like The Flash, Arrow, and now more recently Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow, I haven't really given those much of a chance either. But that's because it's the CW, and the CW is mostly like the shows that they make are aimed at teenage girls, and that's just frank. I mean, look at the way that Arrow was marketed for like the first 3 or 4 years of its existence. It was shirtless, handsome guy, and no, I mean, like, it just wasn't my cup of tea. So, yeah, I mean, that sort of thing. It just doesn't appeal to me. But that's why I liked Daredevil. Daredevil, top notch. Daredevil was like probably like, actually, yes, I can say this without question or without any kind of asterisk next to it. Daredevil was probably the best show, the best superhero show to ever have been created, in my completely humble and unbiased opinion. And then Jessica Jones came out. Watched the first season of that, and it was flawed, but I enjoyed it. And I started watching the second season. Have not gotten past like the first 2 or 3 episodes. It just was kind of a slog. But they've already finished wrapping the filming of season 3 of Jessica Jones, I heard. So we'll see. I'm hoping that Daredevil gets a 4th season, because they totally tease it. And The Punisher was great as well. That has a 2nd season that's already been filmed as well. So I'm hoping both of those shows continue for a while, as long as they don't get run into the ground. Ken says, "Oh, so you thought the guy from Arrow was handsome? Oh, he's so handsome, just so handsome." Yeah, they. I don't know. You could just totally tell what they're going for. You could tell what they're going for, and they just weren't going for me. Ken says Punisher needs a 3rd season. Before the 2nd season is out, Punisher needs a 3rd season. You know what? They canceled Luke Cage and they canceled Iron Fist, but supposedly those cancellations were mostly political and not really based on the ratings. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if both of them were ratings powerhouses, Netflix would have fought harder to have further seasons with them. But I guess there was some disagreements that were going on between producers and other people involved. So now that Disney's starting their own service, and I'm not excited about it. I thought it would have been cooler, but everything I've been hearing about it has just been turning me off from it. But since Disney is starting their own streaming service, and the big push is to have original content, including all future superhero shows. So Marvel and Netflix already have a deal with those shows. So Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Punisher, these are the last men standing, if you will. I believe Netflix can just keep renewing as long as they want, but once the shows are done, they're done. But again, I haven't read their contracts, of course. So Ken says, what are your thoughts on The Mandalorian? That is, if you guys don't know, The Mandalorian is the Disney's first Star Wars show. For years, George Lucas was trying to get a live-action Star Wars series kicked off, and for a while, actually, it was going to happen on the CW. Thank God that didn't happen. I just couldn't imagine that. But can you imagine, like, this is... I know during... when George Lucas was making the prequels, Star Wars was pretty melodramatic for a while, but can you imagine the CW layer, extra layer of melodrama they would have added to that? But I don't know much about The Mandalorian, except that they cast the guy from Narcos to play, I don't know, the leading character. And the leading character wears a suit that looks very similar to Boba Fett, old Bobby Fett. And I think, you know, the still image I saw looked good. Unfortunately, it also meant, unfortunately for the people who were excited about it, it also meant that the Boba Fett movie that was being planned is officially dead, according to Kathleen Kennedy. I think she's the president of Lucasfilm right now. CW stars lots of sad, lonely, shirtless Jedi. Yeah, that would have that would have been a thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think it looks cool. Like I said, I've been less and less excited about Disney's streaming service the more I hear about it, because it sounds like there's going to be, like, Disney's in this weird rock and a hard place, because to have they're calling it Disney Plus is the name they're rolling with right now, and you know, it's just a whatever name, I think, but because you have that Disney name attached to it, there's an inherent family-friendly image that is stuck or that is associated with the name Disney. And so Disney is in this weird spot where they're like, okay, well, we have this streaming service, but if we use the name Disney, are we going to show R-rated content? And it looks like the answer is no. PG-13 apparently I think is going to be okay. They're going to have Marvel movies and shows and The Mandalorian, Star Wars, you know, that I'm sure that's going to fit right in line with that PG-13 TV-14 kind of vibe. But they just bought Fox, right? They spent, I want to say, like damn near $70 billion on Fox and all of their properties. And Fox has a lot of R-rated properties. And, you know, when they said that they were interested in buying Fox, I thought, okay, that's how they're going to make their streaming service have enough value, right? To attract a wider audience. But no. Fox's catalog does not fit in with Disney Plus, apparently. At least most of it, or a lot of it. Not most of it. But let's say, like, if 20% of Fox's movies are rated R, 20% of that catalog is not there. And anything else that Disney deems not family-friendly. It could be PG-13, could be PG. If Disney deems it not worthy, family-friendly enough, or maybe doesn't politically align with today's climate, they could say that's not going to be on the service. However, Disney owns a pretty large stake in Hulu, and so did Fox. And I'm assuming Disney now owns Fox's stake in Hulu. So I think Disney now owns a controlling stake in Hulu. So all of those Fox movies could end up on Hulu. Hulu had a rough start, but they've definitely gotten better, I think. I didn't subscribe to Hulu for a long time because of the commercials, and as soon as they added that commercial-free option, I was in. But there's too many things to pay for, too many things to stream. I cut the cord about a year ago. Don't have cable anymore, but I damn near pay the same amount. Because right now we have YouTube TV too, which I need to cancel now that Better Call Saul is gone. Pretty much got it mostly for Better Call Saul and to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But the appeal is that you can cancel whenever you want. You don't need the technician to come install a cable box, or you don't need to go send the cable box back when you're done. And there's no contract. So that's the appeal of it, but don't know where I'm going with that anymore. Don't know where I'm going with that. A little bit more superhero news for you. Jon Cryer. You guys know that guy? 2.5 Men. My dad liked that show. I would watch it every now and then. It was all right. Jon Cryer from 2.5 Men is going to be playing Lex Luthor on Supergirl. Interesting casting choice. He's the kind of I don't know how you would describe Jon Cryer. Maybe as a crier, a whiner. I don't have anything against the guy, but he's playing Lex Luthor. I don't know. Ducky Luthor. There you go. Jon Cryer reference there. I guess he has the head. His head is the right shape for it, I guess you could say. You know, it's got a head shape. And he's already halfway there on the haircut. So, I think he could, I don't know, maybe he had a good audition or something. But this is like the weird kind of thing. It's like, okay, like, you know, I feel like if say Supergirl was being produced by Netflix. Let's use them as an example. If Supergirl was being produced by Netflix, it would probably be a different show. They might not even do it. But I don't know that Jon Cryer would be cast as Lex Luthor. I don't know, but nobody thought that what's his name would be cast as Lex Luthor either. And then they kind of copped Batman v Superman. What's his name? What is that fool's name? I'm gonna make me look it up. But speaking of that, man, the whole DC universe is a joke. Ken asks, will Lex Luthor walk around shirtless? Jeez, I'm pretty sure Jon Cryer has that in his contract to never go shirtless in a show, but I have not seen all of 2.5 Men, so who knows. It's not. What is the CW, isn't it? Yeah, Supergirl started on CBS. CBS, I guess, was initially trying to make this push because CBS is known as the network for old people. And they didn't want to be that anymore because the problem with being the network for old people is that your demo dies. They tend to die. And so it's not a good long-term plan. You have a dedicated demo of people that they got to watch their wheel every night. They got to watch Jeopardy every night, but they also tend to die. So they wanted to get a younger audience watching CBS, so they greenlit Supergirl. But Supergirl was an expensive show to make, and it wasn't doing that well with their old audience. So they canceled it, and CW swooped in and renewed it, saved it. Thank you, Ken. Jesse Eisenberg is the guy who played Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman. He played Lex Luthor's son. He played Lex Jr. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of his interpretation of Lex Luthor, to be honest, or his son. It seemed like a kind of like a bad Joker, a bad Heath Ledger impression. Not as bad as the Joker in Suicide Squad, though. Ken says Zombieland 2, thoughts? I'm all in for Zombieland 2. I saw the first Zombieland one time in theaters, but I had a great time. I just remember having a really good time. I couldn't tell you too much, just there's a few things that stuck out to me about it, including a big cameo. If you guys haven't seen Zombieland, I won't spoil the big Ghostbusters cameo, but it's there. Yeah, I'm all in for Zombieland 2. It's cool because I heard that everybody's on board. The whole cast is on board. Everyone who survived the movie. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm down. What do you guys think? You guys interested in a Zombieland 2? Or you think it's like, Zombieland is a pure franchise that shouldn't be sullied with a sequel? It's a comedy. It's a comedy zombie movie. We need those in our lives. You know, a movie I saw, it was a zombie movie. It was called, I think it was called Warm Bodies. It was like a romantic comedy zombie movie. I don't know. I feel like we get into weird territory, but honestly, I thought that movie would be junk. But it was. I don't remember too much about it. I just remember it being better than it really had any right to be. Kind of like Detective Pikachu looks. But yeah, I'm totally down for Zombieland 2. What else we got here? Oh, I only have one more note here written down, and that's that Chris to Chris, episode 7, now available on a podcast app near you. Just wanted to get some quick promotion on there because I feel like it's imperative that you download that. Ken says, very curious. Maybe Dan Aykroyd will make a cameo. Yeah, maybe he will. Maybe he should. Actually, since we're on that topic, I was listening to another podcast that wasn't Chris to Chris, although you should definitely listen to Chris to Chris. Weekly episodes on Friday. But I was listening to /Filmcast Daily, and they were talking about, or Dan Aykroyd was talking about, he wasn't on the podcast, but they were reading something Dan Aykroyd recently said, which was that Ghostbusters 3 might still happen. You guys remember, they rebooted Ghostbusters a couple years ago. Didn't go so well. I saw the movie. I thought it was alright. But it was nothing special about it. Nothing special. It was passable. It was fine. But it didn't excite me in any way. But Dan Aykroyd says Ghostbusters 3 could still be happening. And Bill Murray, he thinks Bill Murray, he's been saying the same thing for like 30 years now, but he thinks Bill Murray might actually be on board just because the script is so good. Bill Murray has been notoriously the reason Ghostbusters 3 never happened. And yet he showed up to cameo in the reboot. Actually, everybody showed up to cameo in the reboot except Harold Ramis because, he couldn't. Ken says, Episode 7 is 7 times better than Episode 1. Thanks, Ken. You know what? I agree. Episode 1 is an interesting experiment. I feel like things really started to pick up a rhythm by Episode 2, and right now we're in episode 7, and yeah, we've got this thing moving. We've got this train moving. It's like in Breaking Bad when Walter White says nobody stops this train. He's winking and talking about Chris to Chris in that episode. So yeah, I'm having fun with it. But it takes, if you guys are wondering why I don't do streams that often, it's because I don't get a lot of time, days off in a row, like multiple days off in a row. My schedule kind of sucks. But one of the reasons I haven't been able to stream as much lately is because the podcast is a lot of work. It's like almost like a part-time job after your full-time job every day. So I'm just like doing a lot of prep work, and then the days I record and edit, it takes a long time. So I'm trying to, what would be great is if I didn't have to go to a full-time job and I could just do all this stuff full-time. I'd probably put in more than 40 hours a week easily. And I think it would be a beast of a show. But we'll get there. All we need is our first 1 billion listeners, and I'll be able to quit my my full-time job. So if you guys can just share Chris to Chris, talk about Chris to Chris to an annoying degree every time somebody says hi to you, just bring up the Chris to Chris podcast. That would be hugely important to me, hugely helpful to reaching our first 1 billion subscribers. And I'm aware that, nobody on earth has 1 billion subscribers on any channel of anything, of any podcast, of any YouTube channel. But I think if anybody can do it, it's us. Can I shoot? I can't shoot while I have this. That's right. Okay. I'm learning this ghost power. Apparently I can't. Oh, it runs out. It's timed. That makes sense. This shotgun is junk. It's garbage. It's only good if the person you are fighting is as good as I am. Although, to be fair, I thought I was going to die right away, but I made it. I lived. I was the boy who lived. Ken says, you should be the first. I completely forgot what I was saying. What should I be the first at? I'm really doing a good job at running this show, running this stream. It's because when I stream and I'm actually playing, I get very distracted. It's not a great way to talk about things that are heavy on your mind, because it makes it sound like you don't really care. It's because humans are not good at multitasking, no matter how good we think we are at it. Oh, a turret. How do I use the turret? Guys, you got to tell me how to use the turret. Please, just tell me how to use the turret. Oh, I should be the first. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for keeping me on track. I should be the first to have 1 billion subscribers. You know what? I wholeheartedly agree with you. And I'm not just saying that because you agree with me. I'm saying that because it benefits me. Yeah, I agree. That would be great. Let's get to 1 billion. You know what? I've got a orange shotgun. I'm pretty sure orange is the best color to have here. So I'd really appreciate it if someone let me shoot it with them, no questions asked. Or shoot it at them, no questions asked. Okay, so there's somebody up. Oh, is this a sniper rifle I've got? Maybe I shouldn't be just out in the open right here. All right. Okay. Forgive me here. See, this is that other thing about Fortnite that I am no good at, is making the forts. This guy's gonna kill me. He killed me. Yep. It's the end of my rope. But yeah, we also have a Instagram page now. If you guys are on Instagram, Instant Graham Cracker, we are at UPNLOADED. You can follow us there. That's where our pictures, our meme pictures come from, our jokes. They start there. They're born on Instagram, and they grow up on Facebook. And yeah, we're just trying to grow all of these things. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of research. But we will slowly but surely get there. Wait a minute. Okay, so there are vehicles in here, and you could ride them. How do you ride them, and how do you use the turrets? This is what we must find out. This is what we must learn. I think we'll do one more round here. And then I gotta head off to that big Red Dead mountain in the sky. Oh yeah, speaking of Red Dead Redemption 2. That is a video game I own. I have barely played it, but I do own it. How do I make my character dance when I've got a mouse and keyboard? I don't know. But yeah, you guys, I'm sure some of you guys have been playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm enjoying it. I'm not enjoying it as much as I enjoyed the first Red Dead Redemption, though. I played the hell out of that one. Now, granted, I am 8 years older, at least, and I have much less free time than I did back then. But I don't remember the first Red Dead Redemption being as tedious as this one. And it's not necessarily a bad word in this case, because the depth, you kind of appreciate how much depth there is to it, but you also kind of hate it because it's kind of like babysitting your character. You have and your horse, for that matter. You have to do everything for them. You have to check how warm, like how warm their clothes are. It's kind of like in a sense, like how Metal Gear Solid 3 was, where you had to feed Snake all the time and give him proper camouflage. But it's taken to another level. So you have to feed your character. If you feed him too much, he'll get fat. If you feed him too little, he'll probably get gaunt. And he has to wear the right clothes in the right climate. There's a lot of work. It's kind of like having a Tamagotchi, except your Tamagotchi is a 40-year-old cowboy that should be able to handle this stuff on his own. But you have to do it. I was playing a little bit of it this morning, and I just got to a pretty funny... I'm still very early into the game. And supposedly this game takes like 40 to 60 hours just to get through the main story, which is nuts. I was kind of worried that Rockstar was going to half-ass the story content, the single-player content, because of how much money they made off of Grand Theft Auto Online. And I'm still kind of nervous about that when it comes to their Red Dead's Online, which supposedly launches this month, if it hasn't already. But it's, for all accounts, it's a long game. Rick, welcome, Rick. Rick says it took him 64 hours to beat the main campaign. I'm sure you did some side stuff too. Still, that's your bang for your buck right there. That's $1 an hour roughly with tax, depending on what state you live in. Not bad. Not too shabby when you look at it that way. I just swooped in on this guy's kill. He's probably pissed. Ugh. Hold on, don't kill me. I gotta... Okay, he killed me. 64 hours. That is a long time. That is a long game. I saw a test recently, though, that tested Red Dead Redemption 2 versus some other big games, like the input lag. And input lag is like, let me see, I got a controller here. Okay, so this is what input lag is, essentially. So if you were to, say, push the X button jumps in Red Dead Redemption 2. If you push the X button, how long, input lag is how long would it be from when you press that button to when the character performs that action. So you push X, how long does it take for him to jump? And Red Dead Redemption 2 had some pretty bad input lag. And I don't know why that is. The game, this might play a part, but the game is a very good-looking game for the PS4. I just have a base PS4. I don't have a PS4 Pro. I have a pretty good PC. That's what I'm playing this on, but it's not currently out on PC. I probably would have got it there. But because the game is so big, maybe because there's so much going on. The open world is so huge and vast, and there's so much to load, that sort of thing. Maybe that's why. Also, the animations in the game are extremely detailed and sometimes long and sometimes tedious. So maybe that's why. Maybe like having to load all these specific animations could be why it takes a longer time. But your character has weight to him too, so when you move, you press forward on the joystick, it takes a second or half a second for your character to stop when you release it. So your character has a certain sort of weight to him. But I did test it this morning when I was playing, and I would like rotate my character a little bit. Like I would tap right or tap left, and tap left or tap right, and he would have a little bit of a delay to him. He would have a little bit of a delay. This isn't a fast-paced Call of Duty kind of game where an immediate response is necessary, but it never hurts. It's never bad to have a top-notch, quick game. That's what you want in a fighting game, especially. That's what you want in a first-person shooter. And granted, Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to have an online mode, so that sort of thing will play a factor. But it's also kind of a boring thing that most people don't think about. But the more you know. Also, your TV, if you don't know. Like, TVs and games have gotten a lot more complicated than they used to. Back in the day with the CRT TVs, the non-HD, non-flat screens, if you will, those games and those TVs were pretty much what you see is what you get. It was analog, so there was no digital component necessary. It was just feeding the picture on there. Now, with a HD TV, especially like a smart TV like I've got, there is input lag inherent with that too. So some TVs have terrible input lag, especially like newer TVs with high resolutions, like say an 8K TV. There are a few 8K TVs out there right now. I would imagine that they have a poor input lag. And when I was looking for a new TV, I made sure that I found a TV with low latency, low input lag. And that's probably not the right term for it actually when we're buying TVs, but it is important. Let's see here. We got something here. Ken says, I got a bowl. Oh, see you, Ken. Adios. You probably said that a little bit ago. Thanks for joining. Rick says the left-right video cables. The left-right video cables. Yeah. Are you talking about the like the audio? Yeah, that was on the CRT TVs. If I had some, I could show you. I do have some somewhere. Actually, I might have some right here as an example. No, I don't. But yeah, that was the. There's green and red. I think that was what they used, and then eventually, well, green and red was the newer colors. But I don't know. This is probably very boring to somebody who doesn't care. But yellow was video. Yeah. Now HDMI cables just handle all that, which is, I think, pretty cool. Nintendo's kind of weird about that stuff. You know, Nintendo went from the Wii, which didn't support HD at all, to only supporting HD with the, well, they didn't only support it, but they didn't include non-HD cables with the Wii U. It comes with an HDMI cable, but I don't believe it came with the analog cables. Also, with online, Nintendo has Wi-Fi connectivity in the Switch and any Nintendo system, actually, that went online outside of the GameCube. The Wii U, Switch, DS, and 3DS. And to the handhelds, I don't fault them at all. But for the consoles, the Wii, Wii U, and Switch, none of them had Ethernet ports to hardwire your Switch online. But they could all be connected via wireless. And now Smash Brothers is coming out, and the director Sakurai is saying, I think you should play this. If you play this online, you should want to play it online with a hardwired Ethernet connection. And you can't do that right out the box. You have to buy a separate device to use the Ethernet. Oh, is this what this is useful for? So you can be outside of the dome? Oh, how fascinating. Interesting. It's kind of like a savior at the end. How cool is that? Anyway, time to digress. Losing my train of thought there. But you know what? I bought an Ethernet adapter for the Switch, and I stopped using it because Nintendo did a firmware update for the Switch, and it messed everything up. If you kept your Switch plugged into an Ethernet adapter, even while the Switch was off, it was still like running the battery, and it was causing switches to overheat and bend and possibly shut down, brick them. So I took it out. I unplugged it. I don't know if they fixed that yet. I should look that up. But since they're actively encouraging people to do it now with Smash Brothers, I would assume they fixed that. I don't know. I don't know. See, he just got the turret. She just got the turret. Whatever slowpoke he is. That person just got the turret. I don't know how to use the turret. No idea. But yeah, oh, Rick, I don't know if you were here when I was egregiously promoting my podcast, Chris to Chris. We're at episode 7. And I'm highly encouraging everybody to listen and tell everybody they know about it so that we can get to our first 1 billion listeners within the first year. It's a lofty goal, but somebody's got to do it. All right. I think I said I'll play one more before, but I want to get on a vehicle. I do want to get on a vehicle. I guess I just need to know where the vehicles are. Oh, thanks, Rick. I appreciate that. What do you think of it? I mean, you're still listening, so I'm assuming you like it enough. What do you think? I like to get impressions of it. You probably noticed that from episode 2 and on, it hasn't been as long as the first episode. First episode, I think, was just over an hour. Maybe an hour on the dot. These other episodes have been averaging at around the half-hour mark. And so far, it's been pretty good. You know, eventually, when I'm able to do it full-time, we might be able to have longer episodes on a more regular basis. But so far, I think it's had a better rhythm to it. And I think that it's been going well. It is a lot of work, but I'm enjoying the work. And I'm actually feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment, much like you would get when playing a Star Wars Battlefront game before it gets patched to not be awful. All right. Got one more round to go here. I think we will kick butt at it. That's the only dance I have because I haven't paid for the new ones. Look at me, level 5. Level 5! And I've only been playing for like 6 months. 6-7 months. And I'm already at level 5. Well, thanks, Rick. Appreciate that. You know what? I say these things. I talk about the podcast. I say, you guys should check it out. But I'm fairly terrible at promoting it, I guess, because I don't provide links. I'm going to throw up my most recent episode for the peoples who haven't seen it. And like I said, if you're watching this, whether it be live or on the replay, you can download or subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, Podcast Republic, pretty much all the major podcasting apps. It's there. And I would love to have you. I'd love to have you be a part of the first 1 billion listeners. That's what I'd like. Rick says they reset your levels in Fortnite after a couple months. No kidding. Is that like a season thing? Like, oh, it's season 6 now, so you're now no, because the seasons are constant. It's like a new season every month? Every month or every 2 months? I didn't know they reset your levels. Man, this game is clever with how they squeeze money out of people. Let me unready myself. I think it's because they got me in a group. Let me go back to solo here. Okay, let me go. How do I go it alone? How do I go it alone? I don't know what I'm doing. Clearly don't know what I'm doing. You'd think I just never played a video game before. I guess, how do you get out of a party? I don't know. Maybe I'm not playing another round of Fortnite right now. I guess we'll see. It says he's not ready, so I think that's why it's not showing up. If I go back, just quit out. Oh, there you go. Leave party. Boom. Boom. All right, we're ready to go for one last ride. Thanks, Rick. Yeah, Rick, while you were gone, we were talking about Daredevil, Pokemon Switch, Detective Pikachu, the movie, and not sure if you caught any of that. And Sony not attending E3 2019. What do you think of that? I had a lot of thoughts on it. It's weird more than anything. I feel like they do have something planned, but they're not handling it well if that's the case, because now all people have to think are negative things. And if it's based on the PS5 being out in 2020, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's not a good excuse, not a good reason. Let me get my fort practice on here. F3. F3 is the jam, right? F3. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, never mind. Never mind. So what do those markers mean? I swear, you'd think I only play this game when I stream. Rick says it's interesting. I'm hoping it's something big. Yeah, maybe. Honestly, I don't know. If it is something big, I feel like they should have announced it first. But maybe they didn't really have a choice. Maybe because the ESA, the people that, I think it's ESA, people who put on E3, who run that show, they might have let the cat out of the bag by just announcing who was going to be there, and Sony wasn't on that list. So in that case, Sony didn't have a choice on whether or not it was going to be outed, but they might have known that the ESA was going to be announcing that sort of thing soon. Or they might not have known. Who knows? Oh, so when you if you hold right click, it just disappears the whole damn cube. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be something big. Last year's E3 from Sony was odd. It was weird. I mean, they did show off some cool games, but they only showed off a handful of them. And it's very weird that they did, because they have every multi-platform game. Microsoft knows this, and they embrace it because they have very little exclusives right now. That will change within the next year or 2 or 3. But they always show up with games. Sony showed up with a handful of games last year, and now they're going to show up with no games next year. At least not to E3. They're not even going to have a presence on the show floor. Very perplexing. I think they're kind of feeling like Nintendo maybe, in that they don't want to share the space, share the attention with their competition. But Nintendo still shows up to the show. They do their direct. They still have a press conference via the direct. They still show up. They just don't do the live show. I mean, if Sony wanted to do that, people would be disappointed, but there'd be less disappointment. People would still be excited that they were going to be at E3. But who knows? Maybe they'll do their own show around the same time. If it's not around the same time or earlier, like, I don't know. I feel like they kind of lost the plot, because or especially if they do it on the same day, they're running into problems there too, because all of a sudden now you're making the press choose you over a bunch of companies. That's the advantage of E3, is that the press has the ability to look at everybody's games all in the same place, report on the same game. So it's like allowing you to, I don't know, get exposure while they're like I can't consume it because I don't need it. The appeal of E3, or one of the values of E3, is that other people are there. I mean, yes, it can distract from your product, but it also attracts people who might not have known about your product because they were looking at somebody else's product, and you were there too. If that makes any sense. But I digress. I digress. Oh, I forgot I'm on a team. I'm not even playing like I'm on a team, am I? No. Not a very good Fortniter today. More of a Fort Dayer. Where's the music in this game? There's like nothing. There we go. I got a pretty badass sniper rifle here. Are the bullets in this game, are they, do they curve down? Do you have to aim up? Like if you're far away? I'm assuming you do. Hey teammate. Let's go find somebody. Did this fool just fly? I want to get one of those plunger guns. Where do I get one of those? Those seem kind of fun. Stolen directly from Ocarina of Time. But it's a... If you're going to steal anything, it's a good one to steal. Okay, so for sniping bullets, they do curve. I actually like the whole curve thing. It adds an extra layer of strategy. But it's better in single player because you don't have to deal with the latency issues of somebody else's online connection or your poor online connection. That sort of thing could totally screw up that kind of thing. But I get why you would want that for a sniper rifle in a map this big. Because if not, like, this could be a total cheat button. Like, if I could just... If there was somebody right at this window and I just, like, aimed the crosshairs right at the window, boom, and killed them, that's completely unfair to the person at the window. Completely unrealistic, too. Bullet probably couldn't even travel that far. Even if I did aim up. Speaking of that, if you guys want to hear a sad story, I don't know if it's true or not, but I remember hearing it a few years ago. If you ever have a gun, and I've learned that you probably shouldn't just shoot it into the air randomly. And it's not likely to happen, of course, but I heard the story about a guy who had a AK-47, and he was firing it into the air at his home or somewhere. And all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but there was a boy and his grandma. His grandma took her grandson to church. All of a sudden, the boy dropped dead because that bullet from that AK-47 fell down through the roof and landed directly on his head. Now, that could be just some, like a, not old wives' tale. That's a weird way to phrase it. But it could be an urban legend for all I know. But that story just sticks with me. And it has nothing to do with Fortnite. I just thought it was interesting. And I just thought, you know, if you ever have an AK-47, don't just fire it into the air randomly when you're in a city or full of people, human beings, where it could rain down on them. Granted, it is a small bullet, and it's very unlikely to hit somebody. But there is a chance it will. Uh-oh, I should be running away from the dome that's chasing me. I just totally went the wrong way. Where are the vehicles at? Because I'm just realizing that's what these ramps are for. And these rings of fire. They're for vehicles. And I can't seem to find a vehicle to save my life. So now I literally need my life saved. What does this one do? Is this a health bomb? I don't know. I don't know. But I sure do know how to drag out the end of a stream. Just like the end of a podcast. And I thank you for watching that, Rick. Alright. Still getting chased, but I think the ring stops there. So let's look for the peoples. You think they could see me right here in the open? Maybe if I get behind a little bit of shrubbery. Let's see. I don't know. Not seeing anybody. I guess this is the problem with playing in squads, huh? So quiet. Like, I wish there was some sound effects going on or something. I feel like I'm putting on a really quiet show. You guys seen that movie, The Quiet Place? A Quiet Place? That's what it's called, A Quiet Place, with Jim from The Office, Jim Halpert, playing himself, playing his character from The Office with a beard. He's got a lot more sound sensitive since his Office days. NBC is trying to bring back The Office. I watched The Office. That was one of my favorite shows. But I don't think you should bring it back. Steve Carell actually was quoted recently saying he doesn't think that the show would work in today's political climate. Or climate. I don't know if he used the word political, but pretty much the politically correct climate. Because The Office is a great show, but a lot of the jokes on that show would not fly today without some kind of Twitter uproar. So, I mean, I feel like, you know, especially without... They did 2 seasons without Steve Carell after he left the show. And, you know, I thought they were okay. Especially the last season was better than the 6th season. But it just wasn't the same without him. So if you reboot it without him, too, it's kind of like having Roseanne without Roseanne. They did that, too. Where is everybody? This is not entertaining streaming when there's nobody there. Nobody to... Is there... Who's left? Who is left? I don't see a soul. I don't know, guys. Rick says, I didn't like the seasons without Steve. I thought they were okay. Especially the last few episodes. But... Yeah, it just wasn't the same without him. I thought he did great. He went all the way through season 5, and I thought those seasons were great. Some people thought it kind of got funky without it, or even with him in season 5. But is somebody there, or am I just being tricked by my ojos, mis ojos? Okay, I'm hearing things now. I'm hearing little sound effects. Could be from my teammate. Where can I get one of those vehicles so I could just ride around? I know what's going to happen here. I will have lived this whole time, and I'll just get killed by some random person driving a vehicle. They'll run over me. Maybe if I hide in this 4-inch grass, nobody will see me. Yeah, I don't know. If they might bring back The Office without... I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't be back. He left the show because... Actually, he's going to be on an Amazon show, I think. You know, he said he left The Office because he wanted to spend more time with his family, and the whole TV show format was too much of a drain on his schedule, on his time, so he wasn't able to enjoy life with his family. But now he's going to be on a new show on Amazon, I believe. I think that's what I read. So I don't know, maybe it's more flexible schedule for him. He's in a new depressing movie. I think it's an Amazon-produced movie, actually, about his son being a drug addict. He's just not as funny as he used to be, huh? He's probably still a funny guy. You guys seen The 40-Year-Old Virgin? Of course you have. It still holds up. It's still a very funny movie. That was a fun time. Early 2000s comedies, R-rated comedies. A lot funner than this, where nobody is here. I just feel like I'm exploring a wasteland. This is the civilization where people used to build half-made forts. Where is everybody? It's like a post-apocalyptic Fortnite right here. Alright, here we go. There we go. Collecting. Collecting, that's what's up. Oh, here we go. This is what's up. A rocket launcher. Rick says, I was a kid when I saw the 40-year-old virgin. Interesting. So, how did that shape your opinions on things? Uh-oh, I'm hearing bullets fly. Sounds like things are finally about to go down. I really want to use this rocket launcher on somebody. Preferably not myself. I think I was a freshman in college when the 40-year-old virgin came out. Same with Superbad. Were those the same year? See, there was a few big R-rated comedies that were really good and all came out within like a year or so of each other. It was a good time. Good time for comedy. Look at this. I'm just like blessed over here with weaponry. I don't know where anybody is though. Not a soul. Not a single person. Oh, the plunger. I'm finally going to use this. This is how I'm going to explore. Here we go. Okay. Now we're talking. That's how this game is very fun. You get yourself a plunger gun. You can fly wherever the world takes you. I sure would like to know where these bullets are flying though. I can hear them. I just can't see anything. It's like when your TV's malfunctioning and you can hear the game, you just can't see anything. But perhaps oh, maybe I'm a ghost. And people can't see me. No, it's a reverse. Maybe they're ghosts. Dang, I didn't want to get hurt there, but I sure did. Oh crap. No. I had all these weapons. I was rich with weaponry. Rich with excessively good weaponry. And now this fool's rich with excessively good weaponry. Why didn't I have my... I should have... I don't know what I was doing. Shocking, I know. Shocking that I would fumble that. But I did. Alright, folks. Thanks for joining me. I've had a fun time. I hope you have too. Don't forget, you can have a great experience with me on every Friday. Chris to Chris. New episodes of our podcast. It's free to download. You can subscribe at any podcasting app. I don't think we're on Spotify yet, though. That's like the one I need to get on. Got to figure that one out still. But everywhere else, we're there. So join us for good times. I appreciate you being here today. Really means the world to me. And I had fun. I think it's time for Mr. Rogers to put on his shoes and go do something productive with his life. So I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully we can do another stream soon. Thanksgiving is coming up this week. So I'm actually going to have a few days off in a row. So I might be able to do this again. Fingers crossed. But anyway, thanks again for watching. Subscribe. Follow us on at UPNLOADED on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And, of course, subscribe to Chris the Podcast for some good times. Comedy podcast. We talk about games, movies, news. It's just a fun time. Fun time. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Completely unbiased opinion. I highly recommend it. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'll see you next time.